Hello, everybody. Today I bring a joyous occasion. Everybody, get around, gather around. Give me a round of applause for Lene. New background character for walking across the map during my videos has been unlocked. Please treat her with respect, right? But that's not what I want to talk about today. Today I want to talk about the three things I want most coming close to Wuwa's Annie in the Cyberpunk collab, right? Now, these aren't going to be story related because, I mean, who actually plays Wuwa for the story? These are all going to be about gameplay, meta, characters, right? What is that thing that casual people call meta players? What's it called? Isn't it just like sweats? Meta rotted? No, I swear there's like a word people use to make fun of whatever, right? Let's move on. I'm gonna come in swinging hard. We need a free limited 5-star. The fact that this game's only free limited 5-star was on one of its worst patches of all time, 1.2 for Zhang Liao. They severely undercooked Zhang Liao, so he'd purposely be mid in the future. And then on top of this, on the first anniversary, they dead ass gave worse rewards than 1.2. You know, anniversaries in gacha games are usually meant to reward the player. Right now, it's a gacha game at the end of the day, so most people's expectations, including mine, can be pretty low. But when not only do you not give a 5-star, but you don't give any other reward, and the pulls on the anniversary patch are the exact same as the average per patch, meaning there's nothing special, and it's also a filler patch with no content, that is a joke, okay? That isn't even like, don't put your standards too high. That is the definition of hoping your player base has no standards, and they just eat up fucking anything you throw at them. That anniversary was the biggest embarrassment of an anniversary I've ever had to experience in my life, and I'm not going to hold back on my feelings about it. So now that we're nearing on the second one, likely around 3.3, I expect bigger. I expect better, right? I expect at least 120 to 130 pulls. Okay, for an anniversary patch, that should at least be doable for your game. Even fucking HSR can do that shit. Okay, come on. And then I also expect a free limited 5-star. It doesn't have to be on the anniversary, okay? I'm giving you a little leeway here. You can wait until the collab in 3.3 and then give us a Rebecca or Lucy for free, and I still won't complain. I'll still take it, right? If that ends up being the case, I'll happily oblige. But if within those two patches we don't get any of the things I mentioned, this game is genuinely a joke and does not give a shit in the slightest about rewarding its player base for supporting the gacha game for fucking years, right? And in my opinion, that's the worst. Anniversaries are usually there to entice people to either come back to the game or feel, happy that a game they supported, supports them back. That first anniversary was a joke. I never want to see that shit again. Okay. Next, we have an Echo substat selector. Oh my goodness. If you've been a follower of this channel, the amount of crash outs, not only in videos, but especially community posts, have been insane, right? They've been through the roof, especially as of late. I can sometimes spend like 500 plus tuners, a majority of my gold Echo XP that I've saved up for over a week, just trying to get a single double crit at times. These jokes of devs, sorry if I come off aggressive, I just get very emotional, right? These devs and their peculiar choice of deciding to add a main stat selector in the game where you can go out of your way to farm echoes infinitely, and the actual problem is the substats. What the fuck were you thinking, right? I've used up to 30 main stat selectors in a row for Hecate on my Prolova and still not managed to get a single double crit from Nightmare Hecate. right? These main stat selectors, even though they help a little bit, are still a joke because they don't address the real problem, which is a substat selector, right? Anybody can farm a main stat. It's easy in this game. Why would you add a main stat selector? We need substat selectors, okay? Hell, I'd even sacrifice the current main stat selectors in this game if it meant I could only get substat selectors, because I'm that desperate. Add the actual echo selector that matters to the players, please. Okay. Now that my rage has subsided, let's move on to the next and last one. We've gone over free limited 5 stars. We've gone over the echo substats. If you play this game, you would have seen this coming from a long ways, okay? We need more weapon alternatives. This should be absolutely fucking obvious. And all those dumb calm down, right? I'm becoming inflammatory. I'm very tired right now. So I'm being... You know, I'm not controlling myself as well, and I apologize for that. But certain Wuwa CCs who only feed into tribalism and overglaze anything new this game adds, saying that the new standard weapons are game changers as alternatives, they may possibly be a little mentally challenged. Okay, that's as far as I'll go, right? I looked at Pridewin because I believed everybody saying that the new stat stick crit weapons are super strong, right? Because, for example, the old standard Broadblade, it's pretty mid, okay? If we go over here, the old standard Broadblade, its substat is attack percent, and then when you go to the new one, crit, oh my goodness, right? So you'd think crit versus attack percent would mean that it's exponentially better. No joke. When I checked Augusta's sig jump after it had been updated with the new weapons, the new Broadblade is dead ass only like 5 to 6% better than the older standard one for Augusta. Like, these weapons didn't change shit, okay? They alleviated a 4 to 5% jump from SIGs that can sometimes, and as of recent, often reach near 40% in terms of a damage jump for characters. And that is compared to standard. Compared to 4-star, it can reach 50 to the 60% damage jump mark. Okay? So, for this reason, I believe this game badly needs new weapon alternatives, and these new standards are a complete joke. I know some of you may not look at leaks, but we are currently getting early Ameth leaks, and if her weapon as is currently makes it to live, this game completely baited the entirety of its player base with these shitty ass new standard alternatives. What is it, Gabby? What are you doom posting about now? There's no way a weapon is that strong. Ameth's weapon gives 12% damage bonus, 32% defense shred, and 16% fusion res shred. Yup, that's right. You did not hear me wrong. It's the first DPS weapon in the game to have res shred on it, and a fat amount of 16% at that. Okay, so if that shit goes live, we are likely going to have another Prolova weapon situation. If not, it could possibly be worse. But the thing is, for Prolova, the reason her jump is so big is because the standard rectifier is trash. Okay, if I go over here and I go to the standard rectifier, that thing is some absolute cheeks because it has an attack percent sub. It's similar to the Broadblade. Ameth is a sword user, which means what she's competing against is actually EOG, one of the best free 5-star alternative weapons in the entirety of the game for sword users. If you guys would remember, the way they bypassed having the last sword DPS have a big jump despite EOG being strong was that they made Cartethia an HP scaler. So the attack percent sub didn't matter to Cartethia in the slightest, making her sig about 30+% better than EOG, which was just a huge hit towards people who were hoping EOG would be a good alternative. However, people hoped, you know, the next sword DPS, surely they won't do this again. Just from looking at AMS weapon, literally the fusion res shred alone is a 20% damage increase. Okay, just the fusion res shred is a near 20% damage increase in of itself, without taking into account the defense ignore or the other 12% damage bonus passive that is also on the weapon. So it is very likely we will get the exact same jump, if not larger, for Ameth versus EOG, despite the fact that she does scale off of attack simply because her weapon is that absolutely busted, right? So that's what I want. I want a free limited 5-star, at least one, throughout this entire version, hopefully earlier in the anniversary collab. I want a substat selector because a main stat selector really is just such a slap in the face to the player base, right? When you can just farm main stats way easier than substats. And then I also want more weapon alternatives towards limited 5-stars, because this is just getting egregious, bro. If AMS weapon makes it to live and it's like a sign of what future DPS's weapons are going to be like, we just need more alternatives. These new standard weapons do not help alleviate the problem in the slightest. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night. Peace out.